When kids are home for the summer, they're on their electronic devices even more. Cyber criminals know that. So they go hard at targeting kids. Reid Novotny is a cybersecurity expert with tips on protecting your kids online. Reid, I'm so glad you're here today. Thanks for coming along.
Thanks for having me on, Paula.
Yeah, I think these are tips, and maybe people didn't know that this is happening more and more through games and that sort of thing, right?
You're exactly right. So, of course, the first tip we got to talk about is when they download those games. Oftentimes, I get this just because I have an 11-year-old also, and she likes to ask me to download all these free games. And a lot of the games are great because they have advertisement, and that's how they make money. But some of the other games have spyware and malware in them. So they might be actually looking at your kid through the camera, or they might be affecting the phone in some other way.
So it's called a free app or a free game, but it's really not free because there could be other things attached.
You're exactly right. There is no such thing as a free something. So they're either advertising to you or they might be trying to steal some of your information. And my advice to all the parents out there is just buy one or two very inexpensive games, maybe $1 or $2, and have them a little more verified and trusted at that point.
Okay, just by paying a little bit for them.
Exactly. So
okay.
You know what you're getting for at that point. If you're downloading a free game, it's not they're making money off your kids somehow. And what I want to do is make sure you have a working product that's only an entertainment thing and not producing a vulnerability that might try to steal your kid's identity or track them or do any of those kind of things, which is no one wants that.
Well, the next point has to do with that, Reid, is how you need to protect your face, your actual your face, your image, because that can be seen.
Exactly. So there's this fun thing out there that you can actually upload a picture of yourself and maybe of your dog, or maybe your kids are a little bit older and they're themselves and their boyfriend or girlfriend, and they might upload and say, "What do your kids look like?" Most of those, I would say all of those, are just trying to steal information about you, to include your face, the picture of your face. More and more places online are using identification, facial recognition to actually log into things. So they're going to steal that information, save it for later. Maybe they'll try to get into your bank later or something that you actually care about. And my advice is, if you can resist what you might look like with your dog or cat, just don't do it at all.
Got it. Okay. Now, do you have a chain letter warning too? Because chain letters have been going around forever, but now they're online.
They have, and they're online now, and they're all out. And the reason why I actually jumped into this one was the fact that my daughter was sitting in the back of the car, and she started asking me these questions, like, what's your favorite color? What high school did you go to? And by the third one, I'm like, what are you filling out? Like, this is not good. And she's filling out a text chain mail to go to someone else. And what that does, they're actually asking questions to try to crack your passwords later. Because when you reset your passwords, they're going to ask you some questions like, where'd you grow up? What's your zip code? What's your mother's maiden name? All those kind of things. It seems like a game, but really what they're trying to do is get into your accounts later on.
So we already talked about the pictures that can be used to track the photos online. And I think the bottom line here is your very last point, which is don't trust anybody on the internet.
Yeah, I don't want to be a pessimist. I've met people on the internet, and they're great people, but just verify one time. We're talking over Zoom here. At least you can tell that I'm a real person. You don't want your kid to go to a play date, and it's not the person you expected. So trust no one online until you talk to them, until you see them in person. Nothing to scare you away from using the internet, because it's always going to be around. But I think that's just solid advice for all parents.
Reid, that's really good stuff, and without scaring us to death. But there are solutions, and none of this stuff is going away, as you said, and they're only going to find new ways to steal what we have. So let's watch that. ReidNovotny.com. What can we find at that site, Reid?
So plenty of information about me, my background, and what I do for a living. I'm a cybersecurity person, also still serving in our National Guard, which I love doing. And that's where I was able to learn about all these things because the Air Force sent me to college to get a cybersecurity degree. And I'm just out here trying to talk to people to educate them also.
Well, thank you for that and for your service. And I hope to speak with you again soon, Reid. Thank you so much for these tips today.
Thank you for having me on. Talk to you soon.